Are we happy?
Happy, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Happy. Look, big smiles and laughing away. Well, on 3 and 2 and 1 and go. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the ACCA Global Podcast. Whoop, nearly got it wrong then at the start. Crikey, James. I'm delighted to be joined by this lovely gentleman with me today who has 24 years of experience working in the banking sector, a current internal auditor, ACCA member as well. The list goes on and on and on, and he's very smiley as well. But this is also posing the biggest challenge in my podcasting career, because we have a seriously difficult name today as well. But I'm all ready for it. Are we ready? Look at this. Are we ready? Dhananjaya, Dayananda. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Was that okay? Was that all right? Was that on the money?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you see, that was a difficult one in terms of it, I must say. But thank you so much. I know. A chap from the UK trying to pronounce these things. Big tick there. Big tick. See, this is the reason, Dhananjaya, for the ACCA Global Podcast, that people will find you and I on LinkedIn. They will look through our profiles, but now once you actually go and communicate with them, if they get in touch, if you can collaborate, I've taken the hit already. That's all right in terms of the name. But thank you very much for joining me today. How are you today? All good?
I'm fine, James. Today is a holiday, and I had a time with my family and my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I devoted it to my family. Actually, usually it is the case during Sundays. Due to lockdown, not actually a major lockdown, but people don't travel these days because of the pandemic. We found a lot of cases during the past few weeks. So the citizens are more careful than before.
All right.
So
Okay.
their Sunday schools were closed. So whenever we go out, we come back quickly. So it was the case.
Well, I hope
I
all your family, friends are all keeping well. But the main question for the viewers listening in today: where are you tuning in from, and where are you representing?
Yeah, I'm from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a small country close to India.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know much about Sri Lanka, and basically I'm from the capital city Colombo.
Mm-hmm.
Colombo suburbs. This is a very small country, a tropical country. You get all sorts of conditions during the year.
That's an understatement, but
I would say
it's a beautiful country though. There are. I mean, for
beautiful
anyone
country.
who's if you look online, you've got the lovely trains that go through the forest. You've got lovely beaches. I've had friends that have gone out there volunteering. It's an absolutely mega and epic place that it's on my bucket list to come over. So for coming on the podcast today, I'm afraid a cold beer is coming your way because it is an absolute delight. But speaking of drinks, the rule of the podcast for anyone new tuning in is that my lovely guest gets to choose what drink we have on the podcast. So what have we selected today?
I'm for black coffee. Actually, I prefer black coffee because usually I don't drink tea or milk too much. So
let me
I
have a
very
look.
much
Show the viewers your mug as well. Look at mine compared to yours. Pink elephant. Look at that. I mean, pink elephant versus pug. But you also did allude to, we're talking Sunday afternoon here in the UK. Sunday afternoon. I mean, it's brilliant that you're having some lovely family time as well. It's so underrated, I would say. Especially my parents live away from me at the moment, so it's absolutely mega that you dedicate that time, especially in your busy working life that we'll come on to later on. But so the viewers know as well, that the other question I have to ask before you introduce yourself is, how do we know each other? I mean, where's this all come about?
I think I sent a friend request to you because I'm very much interested just connecting to ACCA members. So I think a couple of months before I have sent a request to you and you have accepted, and I think after that, very fortunate, we had a conversation between each other. We got to know each other, and that's how it worked.
Oh,
So that was
brilliant.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fantastic. That is the power of LinkedIn and how to use it correctly as well. That
Exactly.
anyone watching
Exactly.
this can connect with one of us. But what I really appreciated with you, Dhananjaya, was that you followed up on it, and we shared interests, whether it be ACCA and in the accounting profession. And look at us today.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a case of anyone who's connecting with someone out there, make sure it's personal, and then also, you know, why do you actually want to connect with them as well? Because you're really sweet, sent over loads of stuff to me as well. And then look at us today. But
Yeah.
not to steal your thunder now as well, but the first, you know, for me to just ease in the podcast with my professional nature, just talk the viewers
Exactly.
through a nice, short and sweet introduction about yourself, so that they get a bit of a feel for what to expect on the podcast today.
Okay. When you look at Sri Lankan banking industry, we have roughly 20 to 30 commercial banks and less than 10 development banks, the registered banks, and I think less than 100 registered financial institutions. So this as a country. We have larger banks, medium-sized banks, and even smaller banks. My employer, my organization is a development bank.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have current accounts, so we are into development of the entrepreneurs. That is
Okay.
one of the major aspect, and this is the apex bank of cooperatives. So we have been in the banking industry for almost 20 plus years, and with more than 1,400 staff. We have
Nice.
94 branches all across the country. So this is a beautiful organization. This is my third organization. I've been into
Lovely.
2 different banks. I love working in the
I
banking
know
industry. And
we're going to come on to the banking sector later on, 100%, because
okay,
lots of people who become ACCA qualified or are starting their ACCA journey just think that, oh, you'll be counting beans or playing on your calculator for your whole career. And I have
yeah,
a gentleman in front of me who's worked in the banking sector for over 20 years now.
exactly.
But you did also allude on there as well, actually, to ACCA. So for the viewers as well, what year did you actually qualify?
I qualified in 2014,
Lovely.
and on the same year, actually, I got the membership, and I became a fellow last year, 2019.
Congratulations. You're ahead of
Thank
me.
you.
You're ahead of me. Oh, superstar. But the interesting thing is that you've worked in the banking sector years and years before actually becoming qualified as well. So for anybody
Yeah,
who's out there who's part qualified or starting off, just put yourself out there, go get the experience, and then see which sector you actually like as well. That's for me the most important thing. Don't hang around. Get yourself on LinkedIn, connect with the right people, and then just put yourself out there and try it. That's the main thing. What could possibly go wrong, isn't it?
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but this now nicely leads us into, because we've had a nice, mildly professional introduction, but the whole point of the podcast is that so when people connect with you on LinkedIn, they want to know a bit more about you, Dhananjaya. That's the main thing. So
Yeah.
for those of you who have watched our podcast before, we have a quick fire round now, okay? So I'm going to
Okay.
take you
Yeah.
through, and you've got 2 options, and as ever, you have no idea what the questions are, which makes it more enjoyable for me and for the viewers as well. But I like asking difficult questions, so it makes it even better. Now, first question.
Okay.
Are you a high-tech person or a low-tech person?
Uh,
This,
I would say I'm a low tech person, but if you ask the same question maybe another 1 year's time,
mhm.
probably my answer would be different. So
Ah, right.
I'm really focused on that.
Right. Oh, I mean, it's a case of most people would assume that working in the banking sector for all those years, you would
Yeah,
be high-tech person and computers and data and computer software, all this sort of stuff. But I'm also a low-tech person. It's okay. I mean,
yeah.
you can tell by the funky headset. It's very cool. But we'll go on to something a bit more sort of in your more sort of personal life in terms of, do you prefer books or TV? What's your preference in terms of the two?
Um, well, it's a very difficult question though, because at the moment we don't have a TV because of my children. So I don't keep, because I just want them to, focus on their studies. I
Right.
would like to watch than reading books, but I also read books. Not that I totally ignore them.
Hmm.
I would love to read books, but more than that, actually, I would like to watch TV.
Ah, nice. The reason why I asked that question is more and more people are just getting rid of their TVs now. They don't have TVs, and
Yeah,
it's interesting you don't let your children watch TV
yeah,
as well. That's really good. Gosh,
yeah.
we've got parent tips now on the podcast. Who'd have thought that? Now, you alluded to the unfortunate pandemic this year, where this leads on to the next question of, do you prefer a
Yeah.
vacation away, going abroad overseas, or a staycation, staying in Sri Lanka and trying out new different ventures and areas? What would you say?
Uh, well, I would like to go abroad. Uh, uh, that would be my preference, but unfortunately, due to the situation, it will not work out. But definitely, I would like to go out and visit some other country, because I think most of the local areas I have visited and I have experienced. Although there are many places that I have not covered, but
Hmm.
my preference would be somewhere overseas.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Which country overseas would you want to go to? And you don't have to say the
Uh,
UK because I'm on here. It's all right.
well, I thought South Africa, a
Right.
bit of a, yeah,
Lovely.
wildlife
Don't go
safari.
swimming down there. They've got some proper sharks in those waters, but the chances of actually anything happening are so low. But that's on my bucket list one day. Got to go and see a great
Yeah,
white shark out in the wild as well, because I think they're beautiful
exactly,
creatures. But
exactly.
yes, oh, lovely stuff. Gosh, but if you were to say in Sri Lanka, where is your favourite place in Sri Lanka? I'm sure the viewers would love to hear from a local who's
Yeah.
lived there numerous years now.
I will give a little bit of perspective to it. Actually, in Sri Lanka, you have the hill capital, then the hill capital, the surroundings. There are many cities, very beautiful cities
Hmm.
in that region. So my early childhood, I actually grew up in a called the place called Diyatalava, Bandaravilla, and Diyatalava. So these are some of the beautiful places in Sri Lanka.
Lovely.
The climate is very much similar to European uh, countries. You have
Okay.
mist, very cold environment. So very calm places. So my favorite goes to hill capital and surroundings.
So
That's
just
the best part of Sri Lanka.
you live where you live is the best place.
Maybe maybe because of my experience, but it's very amazing, because Sri Lanka is a country where you have different conditions in different places.
Mm.
So when you travel, so within an hour you can totally feel totally different from one place to another.
Oh
So
right.
it is how it works, right?
Oh right. So
So
you don't
you
get that aspect
uh,
when, but obviously I've never been to Sri Lanka, as you know, and the viewers now know. But when you look at the
yeah.
map, you wouldn't have assumed that in terms of it. So yes. Oh no, brilliant. Well, when I pop over one day, gosh, you've now
Absolutely, you should come.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'll be epic. I mean, I've had, as I hinted at earlier, I've had some friends that have gone over there and volunteered on conservation projects, and the
I see.
wildlife out there is absolutely sublime.
Yeah,
But
we have many, yeah, wildlife reservations. I think close to 15, 20 places.
mm,
In most of the cases, you have elephants, but uh, in some cases, you have different animals like other extinct features.
I think my
You
friend
have
went there and did turtles. Top of my head, there's a couple of turtle
yeah, yeah,
sanctuaries down there.
tur-
So
yeah, turtles. Yeah, that is towards down south.
yeah.
Yeah, that is towards down south.
Well, I
Uh,
said to them jokingly that I could go out and do some volunteering with my accounting skills, and just count them up as they go in the sea. Then that'll be all right. But we've got to come on to some more proper questions now, as I'm always interested from fellow qualified members as to, are you a morning person or an evening person, would you say?
I'm an evening person.
Are you?
I
See,
have,
so
yeah.
many accountants are evening people. I'm morning person. Gotta get up, gotta get going. That's it. But do you think it's because you've got children that you're an evening person now?
Uh, it's really difficult to find the root cause, but usually I have more more energy during the latter part of the day.
Yeah.
I'm really energized during the latter part. Say after 12 o'clock,
Mm.
my productivity is very high,
Oh, lovely.
more than.
Oh, well, I'm glad we've organised the podcast when it's 4:30 in Sri Lanka. So this is it, full energy now. But it's 11:30 or so here in the UK in the morning. So I'm well
Yeah,
awake here. But we did hint about weather as well out in Sri Lanka. But
yeah.
final one: do you prefer summer or do you prefer winter? Or in other words, do you prefer a hot climate or a cold climate?
I would go for a cold climate,
Right.
but yeah, but we have because now if you look at the country, we have those in there are there are no specific seasons as such.
Hmm.
We get rainy seasons, and sometimes it's very hot.
Yeah.
Sometimes over a period of week we find variations. It's very difficult to demarcate. But I'm for a winter.
Right. Oh, lovely. Oh, you see, I don't mind the winter. It's all good with me. But I can't say on the podcast I don't mind a small summer break to a lovely city that I've not been to. So, but that's all right. Oh gosh, super stuff. That's okay. You're going to get loads of requests from people now for like parenting tips after this. So that's okay. I hope you're prepared for this.
I'm glad to. I'm glad to do.
This is it. You see, it's a whole new industry you're going into after this. It was
Yeah.
banking ACCA qualified member, but now it's parent advice. But this again swimmingly just leads us nicely onto the third part of the podcast. As everyone's aware, we run on a very professional budget and a very professional schedule here. As to now,
I see.
I want to get to know my guest a bit more in terms of your sort of expertise and your area. So, talk me through the banking sector. Why do you like the banking sector? Why have you stayed in that area for so long now?
Um, uh, when you go back to my schooling days, I did commerce in my advanced level,
Hmm.
GC advanced level. During that time, I have seen bank clerks working at counters, so that made a lot of interest for me. And soon after I left the school, I applied for many banks. And it took a couple of months for me to get into an interview.
Hmm.
Then I just got my first job at a bank. Uh, this career where you will not, especially actually when I was joining, this was not a very sales oriented job. Actually,
Okay.
customers were coming to the bank, and we had all sorts of documentation, and I loved it. So money, handling cash, granting loans, and assessing the customer needs and all that. So
Nice.
this is how I started my interest in banking.
Lovely.
So throughout the career, I didn't want to shift to another domain. So this kept me focusing on banking. So that would have been the reason for me to
All right.
continue
And
for so long.
now I know we've reiterated before we came on the podcast. So this is an insight which I wasn't quite aware of. But how would you describe your journey to becoming a qualified member where you are? Has it always just been plain sailing, or what have the sort of ups and downs been, would you say?
Yeah. Well, soon after I completed my secondary education, my father was the pillar of strength in all my successes. So he wanted me to pursue accountancy. So I started a different professional accounting, my studies in a different accountancy body. Well, I could not pursue. I was not very much matured at that time. So it was, I lost a grip. Then a couple of other studies here and there. But my interest towards accountancy was there throughout. So I was regretting at that time that I had not done my accountancy. But fortunately, somewhere in 2009, after so many years, after 13, 14 years, I took a decision. No, I'm going to do this somehow. By that time, actually, my wife was pregnant with the first child.
Right.
She was about to deliver. But I took a hard decision, and I must appreciate her encouragement as well. So by that time, I had done my master's, but I knew there would be something better when I do ACCA. So I took a quick decision. I went to the local office, and I showed them the education qualifications. And within a day or two, actually, I got sent all my documents to UK. So almost, I think it took around 1.5 months. So by that time, I started my studies. During first couple of sessions, actually, I even didn't go for lectures. I did a bit of self-studies because I had a bit of a background before starting ACCA. So it was a very enjoyable journey, I would say. Challenging. It was challenging. My first 6 or 7 subjects I got through for the first time. I worked hard, but got through for the first
so
time.
You'd have been a father actually at that point, wouldn't you, to a young child? I mean,
yeah,
for
exactly.
the viewers out there who maybe have young children and they're studying now, what advice would you give to them in terms of how did you manage and balance studying versus family time?
I always studied in advance. Actually, I didn't wait till the last moment. Soon after I sit for a paper, just after that, I focus on the next couple of subjects, maybe 2 subjects per session. So I get hold of all the study packs, past papers, revision kits. So maybe there would be a grace period of 1 week. That's enough. So more than, I don't keep wait more than that. So I again I pursue the other subjects. I don't wait till I didn't wait till results. So that was a success. So actually, I without any struggle, I got through all the subjects except 2.
Oh, right. Okay.
In that case, actually, that was not for me. I had a difficult time for 1 year or so, but I never gave up. So somehow I wanted to complete. Even the optional subjects towards the end, it
Very
was really,
difficult.
passionate.
Oh,
And
I know.
the difficult. I enjoyed that difficult.
Yes,
It
I
was
agree with you on that. It's a case of
it was a
I unfortunately failed a couple of the exams myself, and honestly, it's a case of from failing them, and I get messages from students probably like yourself as well. James, I failed this exam. What should I do? I just can't see the lines at the end of the tunnel. And I look back on failing advanced taxation and then coming back and getting 68 on it in the end. And it's been the most triggering thing in your mind and your life of the standards that you need to work at and the benefit of doing these optional papers. And it really helped me out. Instead of just, I'm actually kind of glad that I did it as well in terms of it, because if you just pass them all, you're going, oh yeah, it's fine. But in actual fact, it gives you so much more resilience as well. So, things can't be bad, and there is always that light at the end of the tunnel on there. That's
exactly.
Exactly. And sorry, go on. Yes.
Just to tell you, actually, from the beginning itself, I had a dream to have the Sri Lankan prize for a subject. So I had only out of 14 at the time there were 14 subjects. Out of 14, I had to sit for 11 subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So all the time I had that dream, but my last paper, it was advanced tax UK tax paper. So I got the Sri Lankan prize. So that
Did
was
you? I didn't know that. Oh wow! I am not worthy.
Wonderful experience. It was a very challenging paper, but that was a wonderful experience at that
rewarding,
time.
very rewarding paper to pass.
I didn't know. I didn't know until somebody called me from a local office and said that I have got the Sri Lankan prize as well.
Wow!
So,
can you remember what
that was a
mark you
bonus.
got? Can you remember what mark you got on it or not?
So that was a bonus towards, and that was my final subject.
Yeah. Do you know what mark you got on that paper though? Was it 80 odd or 90?
Yeah.
Do you know the actual number?
Mark. Yeah. That was 53 actually. 53.
Yeah.
I presume only a few people got through because we don't have a variant paper for tax in Sri Lanka. So we had to follow the UK tax. There is no option. So it was very difficult for Sri Lankan because this is actually far more advanced than Sri Lankan tax regime. So it was very difficult, but I had a good tutor. I must appreciate him also, Mr. TLP Raj. He's the
we've got a shout out now as well.
He's the pioneer of tax. So I was lucky enough to follow his classes as well.
Fantastic.
So it was a challenging task, but somehow I achieved it.
Well, challenges bring out lovely rewards, and brilliant. That's so since you've actually qualified, what sort of have you been involved with ACCA or what? Any other things to do with the actual professional body?
Yes, from 2018 to 2020, for 2 years, 20 September. For 2 years, I was a member of the member network panel of Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to get into the council, and I contributed. So got to know many people.
Fantastic.
And it was a fantastic experience. So last time I couldn't win the elections though, but still I am in touch with the local community.
Oh, brilliant!
So there are marvelous people, in Sri Lanka. I can't remember the exact number of qualified ACC members, but there's quite a few members. Most of them are actually young. So, so very young people.
I'm sure they're all watching this. All of my millions and billions of viewers, they'll be looking at us too and going, Yes, I mean, the
Yeah,
future is really bright for us.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. So there are many young ACCA qualified members. I was a bit of an old student even when I was doing ACCA. I can
Mm.
remember, but
There's nothing
the
wrong with
challenge
that.
was
Now,
nothing wrong with that.
behave, behave. If you're young at heart,
Yeah,
you're all right. That's it. But
yeah.
you mentioned, what were the
So
challenges then about being a slightly more mature student in terms of it? Probably a shock to the system, I guess.
I didn't get you, James.
Oh, sorry. What were the challenges of maybe studying at a sort of later age, would you say?
It was not very easy. It was not easy at all because, as I told you, when I was starting ACCA, my wife was pregnant,
Mm.
and when I was completing, my son was just about to enter into the school. So
Right.
during that time, a daughter also came into the picture. I sacrificed a little bit of family time as well. That I
Hmm.
must tell you, but I had all other workarounds to be with them. So that was a bit of a difficult task because, especially when they were toddlers and when they were very young,
Mm.
uh, you need focus, right? So there are all sorts of situations that you will lose your concentration.
Yes,
That
definitely.
happened to me as well. That happened to me as well. So it was a very difficult task. But when you have the real passion to it, I would say with the passion
Mm.
and the encouragement uh, with your siblings, I think it's not an easy, difficult task at all.
Oh
So
no.
my wife was a major strength behind it.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
she supported
I'm
even
sure
my
she'll be watching this now. I'm sure she'll be look at
yeah,
all these kind things he's
yeah.
saying about me. Oh, isn't that sweet? But I mean, we'll catch up in and watch this back in 5, 10 years time, and you'll just go, James, I told you so. If I've had children by then, who knows? Who knows? But you'll be my parenting guru after this. That'll be it. But sort of the final point in sort of getting to more know about you, and we've hinted on it here as well. What sort of advice would you give to members or students or anyone else who's looking to get into the accounting profession about what do you get up to away from work as well? How do you sort of so focus during the week? I mean, what are the things away from work would you recommend that members and students should be doing to get that right balance?
Yeah, I would say this is not a destination. This is a journey. So all the time, I think once you get qualified as a member, you have a title. So you have to justify that to the society.
Mm,
That's the first thing. You may have done your formal learning. You may have completed, or you may go for some other qualifications. But I think informal learning on a daily basis is a
mm.
must. You learn, unlearn on a daily basis, and just keep in touch with the trends. I think that is very much essential. Otherwise, we'll be outdated and we will
Definitely.
not justifying the qualification as well. So we are ambassadors to a great institution. So we have a great responsibility to walk the talk.
Well,
I
Dhananjay,
always believe,
they're in safe hands with you and I here, so don't you worry about
yeah, yeah.
that.
So I think we as ACC members, we must always learn. And certain things I think we'll have to unlearn as well
Mm.
because technology is changing so
Oh,
rapidly and
all the
things at
time.
office. Yeah. So somehow we have to be really focused while maintaining the personal relationships and all that. But
Mm.
we have to be really focused.
Oh, completely agree. But I mean, for anyone who is tuning in, the millions and the billions out there, if you have any questions for Dhananjay and myself, you can put them in the comments below, and we'll look through them. Happy to help and actually answer as well. So
Exactly.
it doesn't
More than
matter
happy.
if you're day one in your accounting career or day 28 years, who knows, but you're in safe hands here from our experience as well. But I completely agree in terms of the continuous learning as well, where it's all
Yeah.
about your own self-development. And I'd also say it'd be interesting to hear from you about what about soft skills in the banking sector? So communication, people skills, leadership. I'm presuming you're going to be putting those into practice every day in your sort of managerial role.
Yeah, exactly. Now actually, I'm in the executive committee of the bank.
I'm sorry to
The corporate
understate you then. That wasn't very good, was it?
The corporate, we call it as the corporate management.
Yeah.
I would say being a top executive, a C-suite executive, it's more of soft skills than technical skills. Actually, you got to know your technical skills, but it's a different case, because if you don't have soft skills, as I said, you will be outdated. You will not be able to perform. So mostly the human resource and communication skills, all that matters. So my view is, yes, you need technical stuff. That is bread and butter, but without that you can't survive. That's fine. But if you don't have soft skills, you will not have a future. So all these soft skills, your internet and how to communicate with people, managing staff, those are very much essential.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can't learn these things from a textbook as well. You actually have to put
No,
yourself
not
out
at
there,
all.
and you got to
Not at
actually
all.
communicate with people, as you say. You got to have
Exactly.
empathy. You got to analyze that situation in front of you, and then make that
Exactly.
decision as well. Because I don't know about you, there's so many people that sort of sit on the fence now, where they're not willing to take decisions, and they're going to do this, and it's such a good skill to have in terms of showing leadership and saying, "Oh, James is doing this. He's doing
Yeah,
quite well on that." So yeah,
exactly.
make the
You
most of it.
got to inspire people, right? I don't think that the new generation is. I think it's not as us. So we have to use different skills to get the things done. So sometimes your inspirational skills, how to inspire people, that matters a lot. Otherwise, it's very difficult to achieve your targets nowadays.
Oh, well, it's a case you just got to be yourself as well. That's the other thing. And then just keep developing day on day, whether you're reading something, listening to a podcast, tuning into this podcast as well.
Exactly, very much,
Very
yes.
inspiring,
Yeah.
And, but it's a case of just also networking as well, hearing different
Yeah,
ideas and different ways of thinking.
that
And,
matters a lot.
so underrated in my eyes. It's a case of if you got pen and paper watching this, just jot a few things down as to what you're going to take away and take action to today as well, because so many people leave it and they put it aside. Now do it next week. You and I today, quick message this morning. Right, we're going to record there and then. 11 o'clock UK time, we're going. That's it. Get your black coffee ready. And we were ready to rock and roll. Gosh, that's brilliant in terms of that, I must say. But to swiftly, in my professional presenting skills now, to move the podcast along, it's a case of we're going to come on to the fourth round now,
Okay.
Dhananjay. This is important, very important now. The round is, do I agree with you? This is it.
All right.
So it's
All right.
very, very open questions. For anyone who has watched before, Dhananjay has no idea, apart from one question, because I ask it on all the podcasts because I'm interested in it. So the first one is a case of, who's your favorite music artist out there? If you could listen to one artist for the rest of your life, who would be your go-to?
Not a single person. I would go for a band itself.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Learns to Rock. That is my favorite.
Oh right, what song?
Sleeping Child was the
Right.
best. Was the best for me. But I love most of their songs.
Oh right, lovely stuff. I mean, my music collection is an array, but I'm very much rock and roll in terms
Us.
of stuff. So your AC/DC, your Led Zeppelins, your Totos, Fleetwood Mac, they're my sort of go-tos in terms of it. But there is, as ever, embarrassing music in everyone's collection. That's for another podcast. That's in that's in the outtake. But we've got to come on to an important topic. Being from
Okay.
Sri Lanka, is cricket your favourite sport?
Well, at the moment, yes, there was a time actually it was my favorite sport, and actually I just wanted to play for my school as well.
Hmm.
But over the period of time, I had my interest in different other sports. No, not the favorite sport at the moment.
Oh, lovely. Well, I mean, when I was playing cricket at school all those years ago, and you tune in to see that Sri Lanka are playing England, and you've got Muralitharan, you've got Malinga, you've got Jayawardena, Jaya
Java.
Sarir. Oh my word! And you just dominate us for days. I mean, what a
Yeah,
team they were about 2005, 2006, or whatever. Amazing
yeah,
team. But
absolutely.
it's going to be on my bucket list that when I come to Sri Lanka, got to go and watch a
We
cricket
must,
match out there.
yes, yeah.
Yes. Who's the and Dilshan and Matthews? I think is the other two players in terms
Matthews,
of
yeah, yeah,
amazing sportsmen in terms of it as
well
well.
said.
So yes, but how big is cricket out in Sri Lanka? Would you say?
That is the, I think, largest sport in Sri Lanka, the most favorite sport. Uh, Although officially the volleyball is the national sport, but
Oh,
I doubt when it comes to practice, you can see in every place people, they are playing with soft balls, and I mean, that had gone into DNA of Sri Lankans. So the sport is actually all across the country, and people love cricket. So the
lovely.
favorite sport in Sri Lanka, no doubt, that is cricket.
Fantastic. I didn't know volleyball was the official sport down there, but
Yeah,
we'll have a
if I'm
game
not
of.
mistaken, right?
Oh, right.
If I'm
Well,
not mistaken.
either way, we'll have a game of volleyball, 1v1.
Yeah.
That'll be it. But yeah, I'm sure you'll dominate. I've not played volleyball in 20 years or something. But yes. But more interestingly, onto another open-ended question. If you weren't an accountant working in the banking sector, internal auditor as well, what would you have been? Do you think?
uh, well, gradually, I I have my thoughts about creative industry.
Hmm.
Uh, I have not been into many projects, but I have a great interest. So just producing a documentary, a film, or something.
Oh, lovely.
I have an interest. So I sometimes I think I would have gone into even that area even before. So definitely, if I'm not into banking, I'd love to see myself in creative industry. So
Oh, lovely. Oh gosh. Well, I'm sure. I'm sure the ACCA, after looking at this, they'll be going, yes, James, off you go. Go and interview members around the world. Go get creative, or maybe who knows? Sky might get on the phone to me. The BBC, ITV, CNN, who knows who's listening? That'll be it. They'll
yeah.
go, that guy there, he'd look good in a suit and going around interviewing accountants. He can talk about IFRS. That'll be all right. So, but we alluded to travel before as well, as to you've really only been in Sri Lanka for most of your life. But where's that one place that you really want to go to as well? If you said, James, I'm going to the airport right now. They've given me a free ticket to one place. Where would you go to?
Within the Sri Lanka, is it?
No, out of Sri
Outside,
Lanka. Yeah,
out
outside of
of
Sri
Sri Lanka.
Lanka. You've got your private jet out there, your G&T ready. Obviously, you can bring your family as well. They're not going to leave them behind. They
Yeah.
can come on the plane as well. Where would you go?
uh, uh, I would say Paris.
Mm, see, very romantic. Good grief. Good grief. I, th- I think mine would be. I've always fancied Australia for some reason, but
Okay.
as I've mentioned on the podcast before, I'd only go out to Australia when the cricket's on. So when
I see.
England are playing Australia in the Ashes, that's it for me. I think that'd be cool.
Okay.
But leading on to the final bit in this sort of area, before we come on to
Okay.
your expertise and insights, which is the other reason for the podcast. But what would be your biggest life lesson that for any viewer who's watching now, what would you say to them that they may go away today and it might change their world? What's the biggest lesson you've learned or you'd want to share with the viewers?
Well, through my own experience, I think we have to focus on our life mission. So when I look back, I think to some extent I was not focused. So over the period of time with maturity, I realized that even as youngsters, we should have a mission,
Mm-hmm.
or rather a vision in our life, not to lose the track and keep on focusing on that. So especially for youngsters, I would say there is a time that we can really focus on our studies, we can do our sports, so might as well do everything,
Yeah.
but we should know as to where we are heading. So
Yeah.
without knowing that, it might be difficult at a later stage of our life. So that I have experienced in a hard way, but I'm really happy to have it because I went through that, and I'm really happy. But for youngsters, even for my son, I always say, do whatever you do, but do it better. So
That's good.
and to have a vision. So whether you might be a sportsman or an engineer, doctor, or someone who's into some other academic area, but
Banking.
whatever, yeah, whatever, you should focus. And where I think where you're passionate,
Mm.
your passion also should tell that where you're heading. So with that, you must focus and
Mm.
keep on pushing towards that. So
Completely agree
that
with
I
you.
would, yeah, that I would say to youngsters.
Oh, it depends what you classify as a youngster, I guess, as well. But we're not going to get into that today. But but I'd say you got to watch your purpose, and then what action are you taking towards it? Because so many
Exactly.
people now procrastinate and look at their phones, and days pass by watching Netflix and everything on those
Absolutely.
lines. Obviously,
Absolutely.
obviously, watching you and I now is that is fulfilling time, and you're going to go away and just inspire to go and get qualified. But just small changes each day gets that vision a lot clearer as well, I would say, in terms of it.
Absolutely.
That's for me. That I mean, you've worked in the banking sector 20, 24 years, 25 years. We've now got to draw it onto your
Okay.
insights, your experience. The viewers are not here for me. I can tell you now. They're the banking. If they want to go into banking, internal auditing, we're going to come on to it now as to various things. Obviously, I've professionally got written down here. But I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on cryptocurrencies as well. So how is that
uh,
sort of impacting on the banking sector?
well, in a Sri Lankan scenario, it had not got affected the banking industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm yet to see any positive movements.
Mm-hmm.
But my view is, people still are very much focused on the physical currencies, even electronic currency, right? The dollars, pounds, and etc. etc. People still believe, to my knowledge, still believe in the formal currency structure,
Mm-hmm.
be it in electronic mode, but I yet to see a huge change in cryptocurrency, because there was a huge noise some time back,
Yeah.
that it will replace the formal currency structure. But I'm of the view that the formal currency structure will be there, but even in Sri Lanka nowadays, we see a lot of QR codes and all that. So things will change. Definitely things will change. Physical currency will be replaced very soon. But for me, to my knowledge, it will be the formal currency, whatever the
All
country
right.
or
Okay,
yeah,
no, just curious on it. 'Cause it keeps cropping up, like you said, when we had Bitcoin obviously came to the forefront a few years ago, and the price of it just keeps fluctuating. Where some people think they know,
exactly,
and then they don't know. So no, that's interesting. But
exactly.
what other sort of insights do you think are going to impact on the banking sector going forward from your experience?
Well, banking sector will definitely be challenged by some other sectors. Like now, for example, you take the telecommunications industry. Even in Sri Lankan context, there are now there are some products they offer certain products through their network. So might be micro loans, other savings products. So the banking and finance, the formal banking and finance industry will be challenged by those. And as we always see that the threat might not come within the industry, it might come outside. So it might come outside. Certain products will be delivered in a more efficient manner by some other industries. So the banking sector has to or the financial industry has to be very much focused on what they do. So at the moment, I see that the financial institutes they go for electronic wallets and all that. That's a positive move. I think that is partly because of the challenge you get outside the industry. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, and we will continue to have the threat from outside the industry, not within the industry.
Right.
So that we have to watchful.
Oh no, I'll pay attention on it. That's all right, because I go to the ACCA CPD events on these sort of things. So I'm just interested to hear from someone who works in the sector. That's why. But
Yeah.
if we've got someone who's interested in actually going and working in the banking sector, maybe they're at the start of their career, maybe they're partway through their career. We don't know. But if someone was coming to you for a job in the banking sector, what skills, what attributes, what qualifications are you looking for that would stand out for you, or that people need to work on?
The banking and financial sector, I think even for non-qualified or maybe those who are not into accounting, I think they must first of all they should have the integrity. That is a must, I think, because the financial sector is very much vulnerable for frauds and misstatements. So that must be the number one. Apart from that, I think now it has changed over now. As I told you, a few decades ago in Sri Lanka, a banking career was a very dominated one. So customers came to the branch and they met the branch manager. But today it has changed. Branch managers and other staff go for the customer and they fulfill the needs at customers' premises. So the sales, I think, is a very essential skill, and negotiation skills. I can see those who are performing really well. Actually, they are very good at sales and negotiation skills.
Right.
And throughout my career, I have seen people climbing the ladder, not because of anything, because of their sales and negotiation skills. And also, you got to be with people. This is an industry where you just can't do it alone by yourself. So you got to interact with people and be nice to them and somehow get hold of them. That is a must. I would say ACCA is a very good qualification for a banker. We have many other qualifications bankers who accept, but ACCA gives you a very good insight about your accounting, your
all the
financial
various
management,
areas. Yeah.
and also internal audit. So that is between bit of a risk management as well.
Yep.
Not necessarily risk management, but a little bit of governance. And also you get the skills to analyze business scenario. So when you climb up the ladder as a corporate leader, those skills are very much essential.
Competency, isn't it? Yeah, whichever situation you put into, the qualifications just giving you exposure in so many different areas. And then these are other skills that we're going on about now in terms of sales, negotiating, people skills as well. So someone once told me before, you'll find this funny. James, you're the type of person that could sell snow to the Eskimos. Which, I went, oh, thank you. That's all right. I mean, it's pretty cold up there, but I'll give it a go. But
yeah, out of jokes, I think that is a must for bankers.
Oh, well, who knows? Right? Yeah, the university's going to get worried seeing this now. James is going to go work for a bank in Sri Lanka. To look after the team. Oh gosh, brilliant, Dhananjaya. Oh gosh. So well, we've talked about very, loads of different diverse areas, but are there any sort of final insights as to the sort of banking sector that we've been here on the actual podcast now that you just think you've got to get across to the viewers? What would be fundamental that they'd need to know about the sector?
The banking sector, earlier it was nothing but accepting deposits and lending. So that was the start of banking sector for many centuries. But now it is not the case. We provide all sorts of services and related services. So it has moved beyond the basic scope. So now we are into, if you take post transaction, now we tie up with supermarkets. So whenever somebody purchase goods, the bank will be part of it, right? So likewise, the banking sector has emerged over a period of time outside its core area. Some banks offer trade finance, so that is another area that has developed over a period of time, and even bankers do provide advisory services for their clients. So a banker, I would say, a banker should be very much vigilant, should know the stuff, especially when you are into lending. You should know the industries, especially if you are into SMEs. You must know the stuff, otherwise you can't lend. So this is an industry where you have to keep on learning as much as in other industries. You have to keep on learning and to be practical and just to know the ground situation. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive. Even banks, as a bank, that culture should be there within the organization. Otherwise, it's very much difficult.
Yeah, you got to enjoy what you do as well. That's the other thing, where you're working with entrepreneurs, where they'll be coming to you with all these ideas, and that's why I love speaking with people who set up their own businesses, because when they're so passionate about it and they have that vision, as we talked about, that they can see their product or their service going global, or they can just see it's starting as a lump of coal and it's going to turn into a diamond in 5-10 years time. So
exactly.
You must like the actual people side of it, where that they'll come in with their forecasts and says, oh, Dhananjaya, we need to actually we're considering a loan going into this 3-5 years. What do you think? And you'll have to, you have to make judgments on it. I think that's really interesting.
And you got to sniff things, right? Because sometimes I won't say that everyone is like that, but there are misstatements, fake people come, fraudulent documents. So
Oh
you
yeah.
got to sniff things and just verify within seconds. Otherwise, if it go and you
Yeah.
will lose a couple of millions.
Oh yeah, no, but that's what you do in your ACCA studies. You do your due diligence. You have that, you're sort of interrogating in terms of it. But it's all
Exactly.
it's all about the detail. And then this
Yeah.
changes the way that you are actually as a person, as a working individual. That is the standard that I have to operate at, and you have to question all these various different aspects, and then you've got your ethics come into
Exactly.
it. And I think that's really key how you hinted at, for someone who wants to come into the banking sector, the first thing you said was integrity as well, which I think
Integrity.
that's really really important as well. But
Exactly.
yes, have you got a busy week of work ahead? I know we're on a Sunday now, but have you got a busy week ahead?
Yeah, yes, to some extent, because in the morning, Monday mornings, we have the progress review. So we will start the week with that. So the leadership team will get connected through Zoom with
Lovely.
the regional managers. So thereafter, we have other routine work. So once in a month, I had the board audit committee, so I had to meet the directors and present my reports. So that also counts for a few days of work, because we have to prepare reports and all that. But
Yeah.
all are very interesting, so I enjoy those. Yes,
Good.
bit of a busy work week ahead.
Oh well, that's brilliant. I mean, I must say, as we're slightly drawing to an end now on the podcast as well, that's the case of, there's been so many insights as to, if we've got somebody who's wanting to work in the banking sector, the skills around it as well, what ACCA can bring. But the most important thing from the podcast, for giving up your time on a Sunday afternoon as well, that's another rule of the podcast for anyone who comes on, and I mustn't drop it on the floor, is that's your acorn that I'm going to plant for you here in the UK. There you go. Can you see it all right?
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go. That is going to be planted this afternoon. Look at that. That'll be
That's marvelous.
100 feet tall in a year's time, I'm sure. But yes, I always plant a tree for anyone who comes on the podcast as well. So
That's great. That's great.
Yes. Have you enjoyed it today? And this is as well for the viewers. This is the first time we've properly spoken face to face as well. This is it. I've really enjoyed it. It's been good fun.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That was amazing.
I'm really interested in these sort of things, and also it's understanding another area's culture as well, and how your eyes see the world of the banking sector, the accounting profession, Sri Lanka as well. It's yes, much to deliberate. I mean, we could be here for hours talking about Matthias Muralitharan's spin bowling technique,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the viewers, I think, will have tuned off by then. But yes, it's definitely going to be on my bucket list for a place to come visit. But upon the
welcome to
yeah,
I would like to host you.
Good grief, good grief. Yes, tuning in live from Sri Lanka today on the podcast. But we've got a few minutes. Dhananjaya, what would you say to the viewers? Any final thoughts of your words of wisdom?
Well, as I said before, even for ACCA, it is a journey, right? But the whole life is a journey, right? So we can't, what I have realized is over the years, there are no destinations. So we got to love what we do, and we have to enjoy the moment. So maybe we have lost a paper, but we have to bounce back I know it's very difficult. I have gone through those times actually. It was very painful, but you got to bounce back. And as I said before, when you have a mission and a vision, it's not that difficult because you are passionate for your goal, and
Yeah.
somehow you will achieve it. But thereafter also, I don't think there is an end to it. I think most of the, not most of the, few of our people realize that after a qualification, everything comes to an end, and you have the title as
Mm.
such, but it's not the case. You got to learn. You got to learn on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and just be with the trends, and probably you might be able to change things, right?
Got
Rather
to
than
change.
following things. Yeah. So
I know.
you might be able to change things, and you will never know where you will end up.
Exactly. Yeah. The phrase I
So
always refer to as I'm a runner, it's a case of it's
yeah,
always it's a marathon and not a sprint. That's the key thing where it's
yeah,
just
exactly,
that's it.
exactly,
Yeah, you can make a massive difference just
exactly.
tomorrow. That's the thing. It's your decision at the end of the day, and I hope from today's podcast that people have been, oh, I'm sure, taking buckets of notes, and there'll be so much to go through today. But Dhananjay, I must say thank you so much again for your time and for coming on the podcast today, representing Sri Lanka. It has been an absolute pleasure. You're an absolute superstar as well, coming on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, you can go away, have a lovely evening with the family now, and I'll make sure I get this all up on and uploaded, and you can all watch it together. It's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, Dad. That'll be it.
So once again, thank you very much, James, for taking me on board. And let me wish you all in a Sri Lankan style. We say "Aibowan."
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much. Good grief. I've got to have a productive day now. It's 12:30 in the UK. The rest of the day is just going to fly by now. Thank you very much. Gosh. Well, everyone, if you've enjoyed today's actual global podcast as well, if you subscribe at the bottom, you get access to all of my free materials. And as we said earlier, Dhananjay and I will actually answer all of your queries below. So if you've got any comments, anything you want us to go through, or linking to any resources, just let us know down below and we'll be more than happy to actually answer them as well. So it just comes back again to me to say thank you so much again, Dhananjay, for your time and your energy and your effort today and all your insights as well. Absolute superstar. But as always ever, on that bombshell, everyone, we will see you next time. So thank you very much and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.